Thank you for watching. If this message brought you peace, please consider supporting the channel via the QR code or the link in the description. May God bless you.
My child, I was waiting for your response on this message, and I am glad you are finally going to listen to my urgent words for you. Your life has seen a lot of ups and downs, but in every situation I was with you. But my child, you never really felt my presence. Now I want to ask you, do you want to feel my presence? I hear you saying yes, because you are my faithful one, my cherished child, and today I will tell you the ways you can feel my presence. And with close eyes you can even see me, just as millions of my children has encountered me, with their love and faith in me. My child, you have wandered through shadows and sunshine alike, carrying burdens that have seemed too heavy for your shoulders. Yet in every step I have been beside you, guiding you, even when your eyes could not perceive me. The moments you felt alone were only the moments when I desired for you to reach deeper into your own heart, for there you would find me quietly waiting. Every tear you have shed has been a prayer. Every sigh has been a whisper of longing, and I have heard them all. I have always known the depth of your soul, the struggles that weigh upon you, and the questions that stir your heart in the stillness of the night. Now, my child, I invite you to come closer, to breathe my spirit into your very being, so that you may feel the fullness of my presence not as a fleeting shadow, but as a living, comforting reality. Do not fear the quiet, for in silence I speak louder than any words could convey. Do not mistake your own doubts for absence, for it is in the places of uncertainty that faith is nurtured, where your spirit stretches toward me and learns to recognize the still, small voice that is always guiding you. I am not distant, my beloved. I am as near as your next heartbeat, as close as your breath, as intimate as your deepest longing. When despair threatens to overwhelm you, look inward, and you will see me reflected in the resilience of your soul, in the courage that rises again and again even when the world seems unkind. I want you to understand, my child, that feeling my presence is not always a matter of grand visions or dramatic experiences. Often it is in the subtleties, in the quiet moments when your heart opens, when gratitude stirs even for the smallest blessings, when love flows freely from you to another soul. When you allow yourself to be still, to listen without distraction, I can enter the chambers of your heart fully, without resistance. Close your eyes and feel the warmth surrounding you, the gentle touch of my hand upon your shoulder, the peace that surpasses understanding. And in that stillness, know that you are never alone. Each breath you take is a gift from me. Each heartbeat is my rhythm within you. And when you align yourself with me, even for a single moment, the world transforms, and you will begin to perceive my presence as a tangible, sustaining reality. My child, you have carried pain, sorrow, and even regret, and yet these too are instruments of my purpose in your life. Every trial has been a teacher, every wound a gateway to compassion and understanding, every loss a lesson in trust. Do not despise the storms that have passed through your life, for they have shaped you, refined you, and made you capable of receiving the fullness of my love. In those moments when the night seemed endless and the weight unbearable, I was there, holding you up with hands that never falter, whispering hope even when your ears could not hear. And now I ask you to trust me fully, not only in the moments of hardship, but also in the moments of joy, for both are sacred and both reveal the depths of my love for you. To feel my presence, my child, is to surrender, not as a defeat, but as a liberation. It is to release the need to control, to stop striving against the current of life, and to open your heart fully to me. You may fear that surrender means losing yourself, but in truth, it is the way to find yourself completely, the way to discover the essence of who you were created to be. Let go of the burdens you have carried alone, the guilt, the fear, the longing for acceptance from the world, and let me fill those spaces with light, with peace, with understanding. When you allow yourself to trust me entirely, your soul will awaken to the reality that I have always been with you, guiding you, protecting you, and rejoicing over you with a love that is unfathomable and eternal. My child, faith is not merely a word. It is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. It is the vibration of your spirit tuned to my presence, the opening of your heart to receive the miracles that occur not always in grand displays, but in quiet, tender ways. You may feel unworthy or doubt that you could ever experience me fully, but know this: I see the purity of your intention, the sincerity of your seeking, and your desire to know me is enough. When you call upon me with honesty, I respond, often in ways that are subtle yet profound. The gentle nudges of intuition, the sudden clarity in moments of confusion, the compassion that arises spontaneously within you. These are my whispers, my presence manifesting within your life, calling you ever closer. Remember, my child, that love is the language of the soul, and it is through love that you will perceive me most clearly. Love without expectation, love without condition, love as I have loved you. When you extend kindness, patience, and understanding, not only to others but also to yourself, you become a vessel for my presence, and in that sacred space, you may glimpse the eternal. The more your heart is filled with love, the more attuned you become to me, for I am love itself, the source from which all goodness flows. In moments of despair, let love be your anchor. In moments of doubt, let love be your compass. Through love, you will know me intimately, as the essence of your being resonates with the essence of mine. I also wish to speak of forgiveness, my beloved child. So often you have carried burdens of past hurts, grudges, and regrets, thinking them necessary shields against further pain. Yet these are chains that bind your spirit, preventing you from fully feeling my presence. Forgive those who have wronged you, not because they deserve it, but because your soul deserves liberation. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you have made, for in your imperfection, you are still precious, still cherished, still deeply loved by me. Through forgiveness, your heart is unclenched, and my presence can flow freely into every corner of your being. Do not fear the act of letting go. It is in the release that you encounter the fullness of freedom and the depth of my companionship. My child, I have created you with infinite capacity for wonder, for joy, for awe. Do not allow the trivialities of life to dull this gift. Pause, look around, breathe deeply, and recognize my fingerprints in the world. The sunrise that paints the sky with colors beyond imagination, the laughter of a child that echoes innocence, the gentle breeze that carries the fragrance of life, all these are tokens of my presence, invitations to recognize me in every detail of your existence. When you attune your heart to these moments, you will find that I am not distant or abstract but vivid and alive, embracing you with a reality that surpasses human understanding. Prayer, my child, is your lifeline to me, yet it need not be ornate or rigid. Speak to me as you would to a beloved friend. Share your joys, your fears, your longings, and your confusions. Speak honestly, and I will respond, sometimes with clarity, sometimes with subtle nudges that only your heart can decipher. Silence is also prayer. It is a channel through which I communicate directly to the depths of your soul. Do not rush to fill the quiet with words. Instead, let your heart listen. In these sacred moments, you may feel the brush of my presence, a warmth in your chest, a light in your mind, or a surge of peace that cannot be explained. These are my gifts, my affirmations, my ways of saying, I am with you, always. Know, my child, that you are not here by accident, and your journey is not meaningless. Every step, every encounter, every challenge has been orchestrated by me to shape your spirit, to deepen your understanding, to expand your capacity for love. The purpose I have placed in your life is unique, and it will only be revealed to you as you align your will with mine. Do not chase validation from the world. Do not seek approval where it cannot be given. Instead, seek me, and in seeking me, you will find clarity, direction, and an unshakable sense of peace. The path may not always be straight or easy, but it is yours to walk, and I will never abandon you along the way. And when doubt creeps in, as it inevitably will, remember that faith is not the absence of doubt, but the willingness to continue walking with me despite it. I have placed within you a spark that cannot be extinguished, a light that will guide you through the darkest valleys. Trust in this spark, nurture it with prayer, reflection, and love. And you will discover that even when the world seems uncertain, your soul can be steadfast, anchored in the eternal truth of my presence. Do not fear what you cannot see, for I see all, and I am guiding all toward your highest good. Your faith, though sometimes wavering, is precious to me, and it is through it that I manifest the wonders I have prepared for you. They came from every horizon of the earth, from deserts and mountains, from cities crowded with noise, and from valleys steeped in silence. Some were kings who laid down their crowns in the dust. Some were beggars who possessed nothing but an unguarded heart. They sought a glimpse of the eternal, though most did not know what they were seeking until the moment when stillness overcame them and light broke through the ordinary veil of things. The stories of those encounters are woven through time like golden threads that never fade. Each one is different, yet all share one secret. The door to the divine is not locked from without, but from within, and love alone turns the key. The first of them were wanderers beneath a sky of stars. They carried no books, no rituals, only a hunger for meaning that pressed against their ribs like fire. When they lifted their eyes to the vastness above, they sensed that the same breath that moved the wind moved also within them. Their encounter began in awe. Awe is the first language of the soul. It does not reason, it simply opens. When a heart stands unarmored before beauty or mystery, the infinite steps forward to meet it. So it was with the ancients who saw divinity in the heavens and felt it whisper in the pulse of the earth. Later came those who sought the holy in solitude. They withdrew to caves, forests, and high places, thinking perhaps that distance from the world would draw them closer to what the world conceals. Yet their true discovery was not that God dwells only in silence, but that silence reveals the presence already everywhere. When they stilled their thoughts long enough to hear the beating of their own hearts, they heard another rhythm beneath it, a current of love that has no beginning or end. In that recognition they trembled, for they understood that the life within them and the life of the universe were not two lives but one. There were others who found the divine not in retreat but in compassion. They could not pass the hungry, the sick, or the broken-hearted without kneeling beside them. And in the eyes of those they served, they saw something luminous, something that spoke without words. What you do for the least of these, you do for me. Their encounter was not of light falling from heaven, but of light rising from within the suffering of the world. Through tenderness they discovered that God's dwelling place is the human heart, and that to touch another with mercy is to touch eternity itself. Some encountered the holy through music. Their hands struck strings or drums or keys, and the vibrations became more than sound. They became prayer. In melody they felt the world expanding, the barriers between self and spirit dissolving until only praise remained. For every song born of truth is an act of creation that mirrors the Creator. Music taught them that to encounter God is to become co-creator, to let divine rhythm flow through mortal hands. It taught them that joy, too, can be a form of worship. Others met the presence through grief. When the beloved died, when dreams collapsed, when everything familiar was stripped away, they stood in the ruins and cried out. In that raw cry, stripped of pretense and pride, they discovered an answer that was not spoken but felt, a stillness that held them, a compassion vast enough to contain their pain. Many of the deepest encounters arise from sorrow, because pain breaks the shell that keeps love imprisoned. When the shell breaks, light enters. The wound becomes a window, and through it the soul sees beyond itself. Faith, for each of them, was not certainty but courage, the courage to remain open when nothing made sense. They learned that the divine often approaches disguised as the unknown, the uncontrollable, the unplanned. To welcome that is to practice faith. One kneeling in prayer, another walking a dusty road, another tending a garden, all discovered that when the heart says yes without demand for proof, the infinite rushes in like sunlight through an unlatched door. There were prophets and poets who heard the eternal in words, not words of argument but of revelation. In the quiet between breaths, something vast spoke through them. The message was never about power or privilege. It was about awakening. They learned that to receive such a message they had to empty themselves of noise, ambition, and fear. The encounter required surrender, the willingness to be a vessel. When the vessel is clean and open, the water of spirit pours freely. Time passed, and new generations wondered whether such encounters were only legends. Yet the divine never ceased calling. Sometimes the call came through science, minds peering into galaxies or atoms, and suddenly humbled by the symmetry, the precision, the impossible elegance of creation. In that wonder they whispered, "Surely this is more than chance." Others found the holy in art, in the stroke of color that captures a moment of eternity, in a dance that celebrates the mystery of being alive. The form changes, the essence remains. To encounter God is to awaken to beauty, to perceive that behind every form there is a love willing the universe to be. What made these encounters possible was not holiness achieved, but humility received. The eternal cannot be grasped by pride. It is known by those who admit their smallness and yet dare to believe they are beloved. When a person kneels in that paradox, small but loved, the veil thins. The eyes of the soul open. And then ordinary life begins to shimmer. The rain on the window, the laughter of friends, the taste of bread, the breath that rises and falls. Each moment becomes sacrament. There were mothers who encountered the divine in the act of giving birth, feeling the first cry of new life as both miracle and mirror of creation itself. There were fathers who glimpsed it in forgiveness, choosing compassion over anger, and discovering that mercy is the face of God. There were children who felt it when they gazed at the night sky without cynicism, hearts wide enough to hold wonder. The encounters did not belong to saints alone, but to all who allowed their hearts to stay awake. Even those who denied the existence of any higher power sometimes found themselves overcome by a love they could not explain, a sudden intuition that life itself was sacred. That too was encounter, for the holy does not wait for belief before revealing its presence. It only waits for a crack in the armor of certainty, a single moment when the mind pauses and the heart listens. How does one make such a moment possible? Through attention, through gratitude, through the daily practice of seeing. The sacred hides in plain sight, but the world teaches eyes to look past it. Those who encountered the eternal learned to slow down, to breathe, to look deeply until the veil of familiarity lifted. Gratitude became their doorway. Gratitude for the sun, for a stranger's kindness, for the fact of being alive. Gratitude turns existence itself into prayer. Many discovered that love of neighbor and love of God are not two loves but one. When they reached out in reconciliation, when they forgave, when they built bridges instead of walls, they felt a current of grace flowing through them, larger than anything they could summon. They understood then that divinity is relational, that the infinite delights in connection, in oneness, in the healing of separation. Each act of genuine love was an echo of the first creative word that brought all things into being. There were mystics who spoke of light, not light seen by the eyes, but an inner illumination that transforms perception. For them, the world did not change, their seeing changed. They realized that everything is immersed in God as a fish is immersed in water. Such encounters are not reserved for mystics alone. They are possible for any soul that turns inward and listens. When thought subsides and love remains, the light arises naturally, revealing that the seeker and the sought have never been apart. Others describe the divine as a voice, a whisper of guidance in moments of danger or indecision. Yet they agreed that the voice does not shout, it waits for quiet. To hear it, one must create silence not only around but within, the silence of trust, of willingness to follow even without knowing where. This obedience of the heart opened paths they could not have planned, and every step confirmed the reality of the one who walks beside. Throughout generations, communities have formed around these encounters. They built temples, churches, mosques, synagogues, monasteries, circles beneath trees, not to contain the divine, but to remember together that the divine is everywhere. In the rhythm of chant and the sharing of bread, they reenacted the truth that presence grows stronger in unity. Where two or three gather in love, the unseen becomes tangible. The fire of one heart kindles another until a whole people shines. Some spoke of darkness that preceded light, a night of the soul where all sense of God vanished. Paradoxically, this too was an encounter. In that darkness they learned that the divine presence is not dependent on feeling. Even when the heart feels abandoned, the ground beneath it is still God. Faith in such moments becomes purest, stripped of reward, sustained only by trust. And when dawn finally breaks, the soul knows a deeper truth. That love never left, it only hid so that the heart could learn to seek. In every age, the pattern repeats: surrender, awakening, service. A soul surrenders, sometimes through joy, sometimes through brokenness, and the walls fall. In the space left open, light enters. The awakened heart then turns outward in service. For once you have tasted the ocean of love, you cannot hoard it, you must let it flow. Thus the encounter never ends. It circulates through giving, through creating, through blessing. The more you share it, the more it multiplies. The possibility of encounter remains for you as for them. It does not depend on holiness achieved, lineage, or learning. It depends on desire, the simple, sincere desire to know what is real. Begin where you are, in your confusion, your longing, your everyday tasks. Whisper a single word of openness. Here I am. Then listen. The answer may come in peace that softens your chest, in tears that cleanse, in sudden clarity about what love requires of you next. These are signs of presence. Honor them. Let them grow. And remember, those who encountered the divine were not special beings chosen above others. They were mirrors showing what every soul is capable of. The same spirit that moved in them moves in you. The same light that touched them surrounds you even now. The stories of saints and seekers are not distant history. They are invitations. Each one says, this too can be you. The world is hungry for such encounters again. Amid noise and conflict, many have forgotten the language of silence and wonder. But the eternal waits with infinite patience. The moment one person turns inward with love, a door opens not only for that soul, but for the whole human family. For each heart that awakens adds its light to the world's dawn. This is how transformation spreads, one encounter at a time. So listen, child of the earth. When you see beauty, pause. When you meet suffering, open your heart. When you feel gratitude, let it deepen into praise. When you are lost, be still. These are the pathways through which the infinite approaches. The holy is not hiding. It is calling, again and again, through every heartbeat, every breath, every act of love. And when you respond, even with a whisper, the encounter begins anew. Amen.